Welcome to Flashback Generations episode 3. We are going to be covering the Imperial Officer in this episode, or the red and the grey kind.
Hello.
Cy and Pete here, as per before. It's our podcast slash video podcast thing.
So
going
road
on.
trip.
Our road trip, yeah. You can hear the car in the background. So anyway, that's what we're going to be covering. We're going to be covering the officer types in this episode. So first off, we got two different officers. The grey officer has he's 2 points, and he's a single model that comes on his own. He's got the keyword leader, and that's the only word he has. His abilities are for spending surges. He can focus after he shoots. He can do 1 damage, or he's got +2 accuracy. The focus is a bit of an unusual one, to be honest.
Yeah.
You don't usually see that with
Considering
the
he's
surges.
reasonably rubbish, but you know the focus makes him decent at shooting, I guess.
It does, but he needs to. That's his first attack. He doesn't have the focus, so it's a little bit chalk and cheese.
He's got
there.
to survive to use it, hasn't he?
Yeah. His abilities. He has for an action order. Choose another friendly figure within 2 spaces. That figure may interrupt to perform a move. Or rather, errata it can move 2 squares. 2 spaces.
In a skirmish, it moves 2 squares.
Yeah, move 2 squares. That's not... for 2 points, he's pretty strong with that ability. His other ability is Cower while defending. While adjacent to a friendly figure, you may reroll 1 defense die.
Yeah.
Very, very strong ability. It actually makes these guys kind of not worth shooting at, because your opponent's going to be frowning. Just to break it now, but he's got a white die instead of black, so he's got a good chance of getting that X. Avoid everything, which no one likes to see.
Excuse me.
Apart from the Imperial player using it. He also has health 3, speed 4, and a blue and a yellow attack.
The blue and the yellow, he was getting surges on the yellow, so the surges are...
That's the surges, so you can actually get the focuses in there, really. This health 3 is pitiful, as usual. But the speed 4, that's just your typical whatever. He's...
I suppose if you're using him properly, you might take a pot shot at some. You've got to do a damage to get the surge focus, so you'd shoot at something with terrible defence. Just to get a surge, to get the focus, to shoot at something better next turn. It's a bit of a long play with him. But
they are only 2 points.
Yeah.
Most people would use them as, here's your caddy to either get shot at with the cower, or he's the guy who goes and takes objectives or does whatever he needs to do.
The main thing this guy does, in my opinion, is bring the leader keyword cheaply.
Yes.
So you can suddenly get access to the leader-only command cards. Such as, which we'll go on to in a minute, I think. So.
Yeah, we won't talk about that just yet. We'll talk about the red officer before we do that. The sound quality has just changed now because we're continuing the conversation on at home. So let's continue talking about the red officer. What has changed about him, Pete? Greatly, many things.
So this guy's a big upgrade to his grey brother. He's 5 points rather than 2, so more than double the cost. He's got 5 health rather than 3. Which is nice. The surges, he gains, his accuracy goes from +2 to +3, and he gains a surge stun, which is a cheeky little addition I didn't really notice before. A stun at the right time on the right target can be awesome, so that's good. The massive boost though that this guy brings is that his executive order has been unaffected by the recent changes. So he's choose another friendly figure, special action, choose another friendly figure within 2 spaces. So it's got a good area of effect this. That figure may interrupt to perform a move or attack. So that's massive. So if you've got a big super character nearby, the Warguard Champ, Darth Vader, he can make him attack again.
That last word, attack, move or attack, that is brutal.
Yeah.
That's what this guy is. He's 5 points to make anyone basically do something again.
Yeah.
I've been running a list for a little while. It was a fun list, but it had 2 of the big guys. So what are they called? The ATSTs. The ATSTs. So I had the general, and I had the standard guy. But I ran 2 of these. It was good fun to play. I mean, they actually for 5 points making this powerhouse of a unit shoot again was just, it nearly felt broken. But you know, against the wrong list, I mean that list is very one-dimensional. It can't capture anything. It doesn't really do the objectives. It's trying to do its own objective, which is kill everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like you're playing a different game to your opponent.
Yeah.
And you know what? It suffers from things like reach and stuff as well. So it's not like, oh, these are the end be all end all. In fact, I don't really see these red guys that often. You see the grey ones a lot because the grey ones.
Yeah, you see one in a list, don't you, every now and then. It depends.
Yeah.
They're always there to support a big character. Or, I mean, you're the only person so I've seen use them to support walkers, because I think people have got a thing about walkers still in skirmish.
They don't like them?
Yeah, they don't like them, or I think there's still a misunderstanding about the inside-outside rule, but anyway,
Yeah.
I've only seen Sai run it, but the Imperial Officer is always lurking around when the Royal Guard champs out, always, for this reason, because he can make him attack again. It's just awesome. He's got the cower as well, same as the grey guy, you know, re-roll the white die if you're next to a friendly figure. Same gun, but yeah, it's all about making your big guys
making them attack again. I found that one of the good things about this guy is when you activate your opponent, it feels like you've got an extra activation with this guy because he makes one of your big guys attack again. It makes the last, when you activate your big guy, even more threatening and even more scary. You know, and if he needs to, he can just go in and do that final blow. And you know what? He can actually do an activation and shoot as well. So you know, with stun, and he's got a toolbox there.
Yeah, and the difference between the grey guy as well is the grey guy's been changed. The grey officer only in a skirmish only allows friendly figures to move 2 spaces. 2
spaces, yes, instead of their full distance. So this guy can still get Darth Vader to move 4.
Yeah.
So. I personally don't understand why the red one isn't taken more often. That 5 life with cower is the most annoying. Cower is the most annoying rule I'd say in the whole game.
Yeah. It is, but yeah, it's worth so much more on a 5-point guy than a 2-point guy, isn't it? So. Yeah, I'm just thinking I might put him in my list for a bit.
Not in your Stormtrooper list.
Yeah.
Right, let's talk about who are they good with and who are they bad with. So we've talked about the red guy. We said he's really good with your big characters.
Yeah.
You don't really see the red guys with, you know, that Stormtrooper list, or you're doing a spine list.
No, it'd be a waste, wouldn't he, actually?
He'd be a waste. He doesn't do enough. You know, he does the grey guy does pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
The grey one is actually quite a utility tool in any list. When you've got 2 points left over, he just works so well. He's brilliant at just capturing objectives, holding off something, making people move when he needs to.
Yeah.
And you know what? And as Pete's already mentioned, the leader trait on top of him is just so powerful.
It is.
You know, just having that. So you know, they're both brilliant. The grey one I think edges it just a little bit because
of the value, yeah.
Because he works for every list, as opposed to the red one, you have to have big, powerful guys that you want to activate. But you know what? A combination of both can work too. You know, 2 greys and 1 red, for instance. You know, so you're actually getting to push Darth Vader 4 squares before you even moved, and then he can actually attack again after he's already attacked. So you know, there's a lot of they're great utility. These guys. They don't suffer. There's very few drawbacks to them.
Yeah.
Drawbacks, they don't kill anything, really.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. They got a yellow dice, so they get some cheeky surges in. But the grey guy's got no decent surges anyway. He can. I'll tell you what, he did. The grey officer pulled something out of the bag in a tournament the other day. I didn't have anything to do with him. It was a late game, and I can't remember what character it was. I think it was IG-88. It was bearing down on him. And IG-88 had done his Blaze of Glory, so he was pretty wounded. And this guy managed to roll a surge, focus himself, somehow survive another round, and then with the focus he took out IG-88. So it's just because I have nothing else to do with him at that point. But what he's useful for really is, as we said before, is bringing down the leader cards out of your deck, or using the leader cards out of your deck. So early game you're protecting him, he should be hiding in the crowd, and also pushing people 2 spaces so they can make that quick early dash for the objective or the door or whatever it is.
The opponents can't shoot him though because in the early game they're always next to people.
I think that's how he survived.
They have cower. People know they have cower. They don't do enough damage, so they're not actually deemed that much of a threat. So they actually do live. They are usually the last people to die.
That's it.
Cower is too annoying a rule to try and just target it. I do find that they are often victims to an area of effect. weapons or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
They're often caught in a blast or whatever.
that's it. They're a trooper, health wise, but they've got the better defence. So yeah, they just need to shuffle along with the pack and push the guy who needs pushing 2 spaces.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, it's a vitally important miniature the grey officer, and somewhat less so the red officer. With the game as it is at the moment.
Okay, let's move on to the upgrades. What do we have, Pete?
Right. Okay, we've got 3 leader cards here, which both of these officers can use. I'll start with a 1-point card called Regroup. So it's got the keyword leader, so a leader must use this card. That's what the officers are for. Special action, discard all harmful conditions from adjacent friendly figures. So, if he's in the right place, he's in the middle of the pack, and somehow loads of guys around him are bleeding and stunned, you can discard them for an action. You can have 2 of these in your deck and it's 1 point.
I've actually found this is a great card for a lot of other lists. So, when people have Wookiees or something and they go and they have the mad creature rats or something and they make themselves bleed and stunned and have all these conditions, and then this leader card works very well on, for just clearing that. So I don't think it's a bad card, and I think conditions are coming into the game more and more. It seemingly with every new release.
Yeah.
They're just getting more and more deadly with this. Now this guy can do this and he can do this, and conditions seem to be the big thing that are pushed. How many points is that?
He's one point this card.
The problem with this card is it costs a point. It costs an action. And the action I think is quite a hard one to pull off, because a lot of the time you're going to have to end up moving your Imperial Officer to someone and then using that when you're adjacent to them.
Yeah.
I had that card and I've used it to good effect when I was using the big guys, the ATSTs.
Yeah.
Because I found that they were very prone to stun.
Yes.
And suddenly that card would really save the day. For a point.
I think in a concentrated list like that, yeah, all the conditions are going on your 2 big guys, aren't they?
Yeah.
So you need this card to get rid of those.
Someone like Darth Vader or Imperial, the Royal Guard champ. These are guys that are very vulnerable to all conditions.
Yeah.
And you need them to have their 2 actions. Definitely. They need their actions. So suddenly using a grey officer to go over and say tag your ribs, you're free of that. I mean, it's a good card.
In my list, it's the opposite. I don't use this card in the trooper spam list, because if 3 stormtroopers are stunned, do I care when I've got like 12 plus of them? Not enough to waste the leader's action on it, to be honest.
I agree. Yeah.
There's other leader cards I'd rather have him do it instead.
so yeah, that's the advice for that card. If you're running a more elite list, this is a great one to put on elite to have in the deck. Only a point as well. I think it's well cost, and I think it's got a future in the game as well. What do we have next?
Okay, so we've got an inspiring speech. This is another leader card, obviously. It's 2 points. You can only have 1 of these in your deck. For 1 special action, the leader figure can choose up to 2 friendly figures adjacent to you. Those figures become focused. I don't think it's worth burning a card slot for it.
2 points.
2 points. You get two green dice out of it, don't you? No matter what your list or who you are, you're getting 2 green dice out of this.
I don't think this is worth it, because there's a lot of ways you can get focus in the game.
Yeah.
And by that I mean there's lots of characters who seem to generate a focus or whatever. And if your game is to get focus, then you're going to be doing that game plan. If you're not playing that game, it doesn't matter. What I think that this card is far too situational. The best chance that this card has is turn 1, one of your leaders has it, and you can actually use it straight away.
Yes.
But that's a big ask, because the rest of the game when it shows up turn 5, when you're in the midst of a battle, you can't just start messing about using actions to generate focus tokens.
Yeah.
It's too late then.
And who knows where the leader will be at that point? He might have to move to get to people.
Exactly. Even if the rebels, such as Gideon or someone, everyone else usually runs way ahead of him, and then he's stuck at the back. When you generate this card, it feels too little, too late.
Yeah.
Gideon, by the way, can actually just make people out of focus anyway. But enough about Gideon. We're talking about the Imperial Officer.
Oh, he's a leader, so yeah. It's,
so we're talking about leaders here, but I think it's actually a lot of leaders have this kind of. There's better leader cards in there for for deer.
Yes.
But there's also more scope, and I think there's better cards for 2 points.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to put that in the dud pile, I guess.
Yeah. I'll use it one day, maybe pile. Yeah.
And what's our last card?
Okay, the last leader card is New Orders. It's a 3-point card. You can only have one in your deck. This is the big Kahuna card. It takes 2 actions to use it. So you need to spend both the guy's actions to use it. Choose one adjacent friendly figure. Ready that figure's deployment card. Best card in the game, maybe.
This card is just amazing. You know, when you look at people like Luke, for instance, Luke's got like the Son of Skywalker, where he gets to ready himself and his card. This is the same thing, pretty much.
Yeah.
This is Chewbacca has the same thing. This does it, but this you can put this on a 2-point leader. This is on your rubbish guy who you don't care about. So, you know, and if you get this early on, you keep it, and you're waiting for that fateful day to just use it and spring it.
Yeah.
If you get a late game, you're always going to use it as best you can.
This is why the 2-point Grey Officer is worth, because he can use this card, and he's 2 points, and you don't care whether he lives or dies, so long as he gets this card done at the right time.
Yeah.
Whether you're running, you know, Royal Guard Champ or Trooper Spam or whatever, readying a whole deployment card is massive.
It is.
Especially if you time it right, you can catch your opponent really off, you know, on the wrong foot, and they think you're all done, and then suddenly, you know, late in the activations, you've got another go basically with one of your cards, and they'll be like, suddenly you can run around that corner, you can shoot that guy, you can open that door, whatever it is. It's brilliant.
It's not even specific on a type of group or whatever. It just works on everybody.
Yeah.
It's a really good card. 3 points is a big ask in a way, but
it can turn a game.
But yeah, you can win and lose games with this. Well, you can win games.
Yeah.
If you know that this card's in your deck and it's coming out, then you feel like you've got a massive bonus. This is basically have an extra turn.
It is. It's really, really good. I didn't. I thought it was too expensive when I was first starting the game. You know, 3 points, 2 actions. What's going on? And I threw it away. And then I saw Sai use it with his Scout Walk, with his ATSTs. And oh my god, because they were getting another whole turn. General Weiss was getting another whole turn. I was like, right, this card is a must-take at the moment. I think
it is.
Even if it's just a card of 3 Grey Stormtroopers he end up using it on. That's still 3 more shots, 3 more guys running around the map doing what you need to get done, and you can turn the game. It's a really awesome card.
It is. What do we think of the models of the Imperial Officer?
They're okay. I mean, the Imperial Officer, you picture him there pointing into the distance with his little grey suit on and his little Nazi hat. How excited can you get about that?
I don't know why, but I've got this voice in my head that is always like, he's telling Darth Vader, and it's like, go get that for me now, Vader. Get it for me.
Bring me
and
my
that's what it just looks like. I suppose the model's good, but at the same time, it's a bit.
It's all there. He's got his little Strepsil packet stuck to his chest. You can paint that red and blue. He's got a little tuft of hair at the back, so you can have 3 different coloured hairs on. I've got a ginger Imperial Officer, obviously. It's just all good, but it's a guy. It's a little fat guy in a suit, basically.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So in terms of the models, it's medium.
Yeah. We need a cowering version, please. FFG.
Yeah, that would be quite.
But it's just rolled up in a ball on the floor.
That'd be great. Some alternative models to these. Yeah. Okay, well, cheers for listening to episode 3. Be sure to check back for episode 4. See you later, guys.
Cheerio.